right. I think we're going live soon. Let's check here. It says offline. All right, I'm seeing on Facebook. It's working. If anybody's seeing this on YouTube or on Facebook, let us know. Okay, yeah. Seems like we're live on Facebook. This is Atheist Republic News. We're going to be discussing atheism and religion, secularism, all that stuff related news in the past week. Just making sure everything is correct. Okay, so on Facebook, we're not live yet. Not sure why. And I'm seeing on YouTube. On YouTube, we're live. I think. Do you see us live on YouTube? No? Not on Facebook either? Right. It's going to take a while sometimes. If anybody sees this, please comment just to make sure that we're live and streaming. I'm seeing an... Okay, yeah. I see us on YouTube. Facebook usually takes a little bit longer. Okay, I'm seeing it on YouTube, Facebook as well. Go live. Again, this is Atheist Republic News. We're going to be discussing the news for the past on the past week. Just a summary of what happened. Anything relevant to... Okay, I see some YouTube comments coming. Beach, price, all good here. Again, I'm seeing, unfortunately, again, our Facebook comments are not being loaded yet. Or is it? Accounts, reconnect. All right. Okay, Ali, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. All right, so yeah, and so okay, I'm seeing some Facebook comment. The Facebook comments, unfortunately, are not loading on the restream, but the good thing is, oh, this is not for some reason. This is not showing either. Let me try fixing this. Do you want to discuss the... So what's the first news that we have, Ellie?
Yeah, the first news we're going to talk about today is how an atheist activist was kicked out of a Missouri town hall meeting after criticizing "In God We Trust." So in Missouri, they have a board that literally has in huge silverish-looking letters across the desk that they all sit behind. Everyone has to look up to them and therefore see this sign, "In God We Trust." Sally Hunt went up there to criticize that motto and say that, you know, guys, this is exclusive of non-religious people in our community. She let everybody know that there are several people in the area that had a problem with that sign being up there on their desk in the hall, but they were too afraid to speak out about it. So the mayor, actually, of the town rejected her complaint because it was the first time he had ever heard that criticism, and he basically had her thrown out. Even though she sat down after her time was up, he still had her removed by 2 armed police officers from the meeting.
Okay, wait, so why? Let me just...
So his excuse for why was her time was up, but she kept talking. But the only reason why she kept speaking was because he was so adamant about he was being very argumentative with her about her stance. I have never heard anyone have a problem with "In God We Trust." He was, being combative, so she thought she didn't explain herself correctly. So she tried to explain herself correctly, and he was like, "You're done. Your time is up." So she goes and she sits down, right? And then he still has her forcibly removed. And
But was she talking when her time was up?
She tried to ask him if she could have time to explain herself again. He said no. So in that aspect, she was still talking. But then she did go and sit down. And then he made it seem like he had no choice but to remove her. If she were standing there and still speaking, I could understand him calling the cops over, so she has gone over her time limit. It's time for her to go, and she's not sitting down. But she did go sit down, and the woman who got up to speak after her went over her time limit, but it was allowed because she was criticizing Sally for wanting "In God We Trust" removed.
Oh, okay.
So
Because
I mean, that's not fair.
no, it's not fair. But I just want to make sure, like, we're not just complaining just because she's an atheist, right? And we're an atheist, like, because sometimes we tend to be, I just want to make sure that we don't do the tribal thing, that we always defending people that happen to be on our side. So she didn't. So somebody else also went over their time, and they weren't, kicked out or anything like that, right? So
That's right.
right.
She was actually excused for going over her time and allowed to continue to speak.
Hmm.
And it's on video. So I mean, and the thing is that woman, and it was pointed out. I believe this was Hemant Mehta, pointed out that yeah, it's fine that the lady that got up after Sally wanted to criticize Sally for her stance on wanting "In God We Trust" removed. She has that right. It was a forum for free speech, but just the whole thing. The lady asked for more time. She wasn't given the time, and then forcibly removed. It's crazy.
Yeah. They have that wow, I can see in the picture, actually they have that right there, "In God We Trust," in front of everybody. This is what this is
Yeah,
a
you have to look at it.
this is crazy. Yeah, I mean, it can't be any more this is like, this is a government institution, and they have the God thing right in front of everybody that wants to come give a speech, right? Isn't this a good case for Freedom from Religion Foundation, from FFRF? This seems like something that they could
Yeah,
handle, right?
yeah,
This must have come into their radar. This is, I mean, the excuse was that she never heard about it. She never heard about it. This is what who said that? Was that somebody on the board?
the mayor,
The
the
mayor.
actual mayor of this town, said that he had never heard anybody have a problem with "In God We Trust." So her complaints about
Yeah,
people wanting it removed is ridiculous, basically.
yeah. Well, that's why. I mean, this his excuse is ridiculous. The fact that you're hearing a complaint for the first time doesn't make the complaint any less important, right? But this is
That's right.
basically a lawsuit waiting to happen, isn't it? Like, this is definitely something I think the Freedom from Religion Foundation could. But what do you think? What do you think people who say that? Why is this so important? How is this going to hurt anybody? It's just the word God there. Like, is this really what atheists want to be fighting for? When, okay, I'm going to be the devil's advocate, right? So let's say some atheists in other countries are being killed, discriminated against. Some bloggers in Bangladesh are being hacked just because they're blogging about secularism. And then somebody comes like, do you atheists really want, is this the fight that we really want to be fighting, that they have the word God written there? Do you really think that's a priority? How would you respond to people like that?
So, from my stance, and I hear that all the time, is it's just a word. Who cares? But if it means something to the people sitting behind that desk, behind that motto, and they're looking at you, and you're not one of them. You're not a Christian. You don't trust in God. How are they looking back at you? You're standing there. You're Sally. You're standing there. You're looking over at "In God We Trust," and look at the way they looked back at her when she said, "No, in God I don't trust." So, are these people being fair? When we put that up there, and these people are standing behind it, literally, they're literally sitting behind this motto. Are they being fair to people who are looking up at them?
Right.
It's not just about the word; it's about how people treat people who don't believe in that word.
Right. And B just saying that she only got 30 seconds. She actually didn't get her full 5 minutes, anyways. And actually, you have a good point, because,
Time was up because the mayor said it was up. I
right.
think that's how that works.
Your point is interesting, because you're saying that the fact that somebody like this was treated this kind of might suggest that other cases, if they find out somebody that is not religious or an atheist, they might be. This shows how unfair they might be on those other things, right? So this is very similar to actually the hijab argument, right? Like, for example, a lot of women in Iran are protesting against the hijab, and a lot of people are saying, okay, this is just just a piece of clothing on your head. Where women's rights in Iran, there's a lot more major issues. They're being discriminated against. They get half of the inheritance. They have half of the value when it comes to being a witness of a man. So why is this such a big issue? But the thing is that the fact that you get to tell women what to wear shows their position in society, right? And
That's right.
so when you're protesting against that, you're basically you're protesting against something that represents all of that, right? So maybe for a lot of people, this God thing might just be just a word there that is not hurting anybody, right? But I think this shows to you that the fact that somebody complaining about this is treated like this just because of her views shows a bigger problem. It's not just a word. It shows how society sees atheists in general, right? And that's why we want to complain about these things, because when we do, you get to see the bias in the system against atheists, right?
Right. And Alex Grizzly, it looks like, mentioned separation of church and state, and that's bingo too, right there. Separation of church and state. We are not supposed to be having God mixed up in our stately affairs.
Right. And actually, the top comment also says, Cody is saying, no separation of church and no freedom of speech. Sounds like some fine people on the board. Well, I don't know if this is a freedom of speech issue, because this is, maybe actually it is, because this is supposed to be a government, public, area. So the fact
Public
that
forum,
public forum, yeah. If there is no, so Serena, second top comment is saying, if there is no separation of church and state, be careful what you wish for. That's how the witch trials were accepted. Just let your judges use religion to. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna go that far just because we have separation. I mean, I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna make predictions, but let's just see the problems. This is already a problem, right? You don't have to make it a bigger thing that, this could lead into something much bigger, therefore we need to stop it. This is already a major problem, right?
Yep, sure is.
I mean, another thing that makes me sad is that people compare this to other countries where religion has a lot more influence on people's lives, and they say, well, at least we're not like that, right? But you have to understand, if United States is supposed to be a secular country, and the countries like United States, Canada, and other secular countries are supposed to be something that becomes a role model for other countries to look up to. It's an example, right? Where we could use it as a guideline, or people are like, but look, in United States, this is how they do it. It's working, and it's something that people could try to have as a final goal, as an end goal, right? To one day reach to, right? And the reason why, even though in United States we have it better than in other places, we want it to be even these situations like that, maybe even though it's not even close to countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, or other countries. The thing is that we still need to fight these fights, right? First, for two reasons. First of all, because no matter how much worse other people have it, still an unjust and unfair situation still needs to be challenged, right? It doesn't matter if other people have it worse, right? And second of all, if this is the best we could hope for, then a lot of people lose hope, right? I mean, if in United States we still have I know a lot of people, a lot of religious people, or people in Iran, for example, that want religion in their government. They they use these examples. They're like, really, you want it to be like United States? Do you think United States doesn't have religion in the government? Look at this, look at that. So don't bullshit. And they try to say like, they try to use these claims to say like it's everywhere. It's not just Iran. It's not just our country, right? They say like this is the
Yeah.
way of the world. So they use examples of like this to say it's bullshit for you to say that we could completely remove religion out of government when even in the United States it hasn't been removed from the government. So that's why I think even for the sake of those countries, it's important for us to keep challenging situations like this. Sorry, but you were going to say something?
No, no, I'm just completely agreeing with you. It's very frustrating when anyone has a problem and someone says, "Well, these people have it worse." That's always going to be true. There's probably always going to be somebody who has it worse than you. That doesn't invalidate your feelings or your experience or what you're going through. And, here in the United States, I am very grateful I am not going to be murdered for being an atheist. But it is still scary that I might be discriminated against in the court of law for my atheism, or by a police officer that pulls me over and wants to preach to me, like we have a problem with in some cities around the United States. And in Texas, we have speaking of the Freedom from Religious Foundation, they sued a sheriff's department here because they used our tax dollars to put "In God We Trust" on all of their cars. I don't want to be discriminated against over when a police officer shows up. I don't want any of those things. So yes, I am very grateful that I'm not going to be murdered for my atheism, but it's still a valid concern that religion is creeping up into what is supposed to be our secular government.
Right. Yeah, and also your problem doesn't need to be the worst problem in the world for you to be worth tackling it, right?
That's right.
Right.
That's
Okay.
right.
So what's the next story?
Next story, actually, our next two stories are kind of tied in together. Since it was Valentine's Day, I felt like this was really, really important to talk about. But the first one is the war on Valentine's Day in India. It's about a right-wing Hindu group that went around just terrorizing people who are celebrating Valentine's Day. This group hospitalized some women who were hanging out at a bar with men because that was immoral. They didn't like any of the immoral activities. They're specifically quoted as saying that Valentine's Day was a part of the Western's rotten imported culture. So Valentine's Day in India for these people seemed to be pretty rough.
What is it with Valentine's Day that people seem to hate so much? Like especially in
I don't know.
Pakistan. Yeah, I mean, what way to say we're anti? I mean, okay, so a lot of people say hate Valentine's Day here as well. So they all of a sudden when they see this, they're like, oh, okay, for this I agree with, right? But I tell them that no, I mean, even if you hate Valentine's Day, you have to understand the reason why these people are hating on Valentine's Day is completely different from why you're hating on Valentine's. I don't hate Valentine's Day, but a lot of people here like, oh, this is corporations trying to make you buy stuff and all that nonsense, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna call it nonsense. I don't care if corporations are designed to make money. So what do you expect for them to do? But anyways, I'm not gonna get on that topic. But I'm just saying that even if that's your position, you have to see that this opposition against Valentine's Day is completely different. It's because they're anti romance. That's what they're anti, right? They're not anti-corporate.
Right.
Right.
An actual quote from this is they were against the false notion of love jihad, the idea that young Muslim men are making Hindu girls fall in love with them to trick them into converting to Islam.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I mean that's insane. And I just like you, I hear people who hate Valentine's Day, made up holiday, blah, blah. Personally, I don't care. Make up 50,000 holidays. This is my short life, and I'm going to celebrate the special moments. And so I love Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
and my birthday is the day before Valentine's Day. So it
Oh
all
yeah.
kind of mashes. But these people taking these absurd ideas, I feel, who care? First of all, who cares if young Muslim men and Hindu girls are falling in love? Like that really shouldn't be this problem to go beating up women over, right? And so to look at it from our perspective, where it's fine if two people from different religions want to fall in love and be together, that's fine. Um, to see people going out and like physically causing harm to other people, that's everyone has to agree that's just too much, right?
Yeah, I mean, and also this whole obsession with love jihad in India. What's all about? What's up that about? They're sc- they are they're scared of Muslim boys, right? Making
Yeah,
Hindu
making Hindu girls fall in
fall
love
in
with
love with
them
them. I mean,
and trick them into converting to Islam. Which, okay, and watching the news in India with the right wing Hindu issues that are going on over there, they are concerned about Muslims and Hindus mixing. They do not want anyone converting to Islam. The right wing Hindus don't, and we've actually, there was a story not too long ago about a man who fell in love with a Hindu man who fell in love with a Muslim girl, and her family murdered him
yeah, I saw
because they
that. That
didn't
was
want them to
crazy.
be together. Yeah,
So,
wasn't
so
that's
how about this?
terrible? So
How about Hindus, instead of killing Muslims for making their girls fall in love with them? Why don't you just respond in the same way? Just go with Hindu jihad and send your make Muslims fall in love with you. It's I don't
there
understand.
you go.
This is the best way. Like use this is the best type of war actually. Just make each other fall. Okay, this chat finally started working, so I'm gonna hide this. Um, make each other fall in love with each other, right? And then
Yeah.
maybe if you keep trying to convince each other that your religion is the right one, maybe your children will find out that they're both bullshit. I actually noticed in India, atheist activism is one of the fastest places on earth that atheist activism is growing. But I don't know if that's accurate if you think about it, because it's also one of the most populated countries. I don't know proportionally is it true or not, but I wonder if the fact that there's so many religions there makes a lot of kids wonder, like, maybe they're all bullshit, right? I mean, if you are raised in an
Yeah.
Islamic country, you're like, well, of course Islam is the true religion. Or if you're raised in a Christian country, we're like, well, of course Christianity is the true religion. But if you grew up and everybody is saying, no, they're lying, this is right, they're lying, this is right, then maybe you actually go try to figure out what's true. And when you do that, a lot of times the result is like, yeah, okay, they're all bullshit, right? So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think Hindus are actually getting. Is it me or that is noticing this more, or a lot of people are also mentioning that. I don't know if I'm biased because I think Hinduism has been ignored way too long, or are Hindus getting more extreme recently?
Yeah, and that is a very good question. Have we been ignoring the extreme actions, or is it just now starting to happen? Um, because what is it? The past like 2 years, I think, with it coming out about people being murdered over eating beef, and the strange things about women not being allowed in temples. All this stuff is just now starting to come out, and there used to be, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong here, but we were reading about women who used to have to throw themselves on a funeral pyre when their husbands died. That's been outlawed in India now, from what I understand. But they did say that it was a Hindu tradition. I'm not sure if it was or not. But
It was.
we're starting to hear about these things that are coming up with it now, and it's
I think
strange.
Hindus are learning from, there's this toxic mix when people that is very um, It's something that is very useful if it works, and it's very dangerous. Is if you could mix your religious identity with your national identity, right? Um, then you're basically going to be able to mix two different kinds of identity, and then use that kind of bigotry against anybody that is an outsider. Um, and a lot of people see that, for example, Israel has managed to make Judaism and being a citizen of Israel. They're trying. A lot of the Jewish extremists there, or religious Jewish people, are trying to push for that, right? Um,
Right. It's
it,
it's
it,
both
it,
a religion and a
yeah, in
culture.
Iran, a lot of Zoroastrians are trying to make Zoroastrianism the Iran's religion, Iran's official religion. So they're now mixing race, nationality. Actually, it's three things: race, nationality, and religion. They want to all wrap it into the same thing. Same with a lot of
Yeah.
Jews in Israel. They want to wrap Judaism, being a Jewish as religion and as a ethnicity and as a citizen. They want to make it all the same thing. Some, a lot of alt-right people in the United States also think the United States should be like that. It's a white country. It was supposed to be built for white people with the Christian religion. Not even a lot of them that are atheists, that don't think that atheism, that don't believe in God, think Christianity is just like a religion that is good for the United States, should be United
Like
States
Richard
religion.
Spencer, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is the culture. So they're trying to basically mix all these identities of religion, race, and citizenship. Like, this country should have this religion and this race, right? And I think in India, a lot of Hindus are basically now following that kind of identity, right? Like, this is a country for Hindus, and Hinduism is a religion, and Hindu is our race, and Muslims and Christians are not welcome here, right? Um,
Yeah.
they haven't discovered atheists yet as an enemy. They might at some point, but that's why a lot of ex-Hindu atheists think that Hinduism is very friendly towards atheism, and that's why they think like we shouldn't attack Hinduism, because Hinduism leaves a lot of room for atheism. And I say to that, I don't give a shit how much room you leave for atheism. If you make bullshit claims, I'm going to call you out on them, right?
That's right.
I mean, I do care if you're not hunting down atheists, but thank you for not hunting down atheists. That's a very low bar. That's a very low bar for you to be proud of. Every time I say something about Hinduism, I'm like, well, at least we're not killing atheists. I like, oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for not killing us. Um, I mean, at least we're better than Islam. I mean, Islam is such a low bar. Do you want a medal for that? Yeah,
Right.
I mean, this is a religion, and people say, oh, it's not a religion. It's a philosophy. It's not a. I mean, okay.
Well, you know that their Supreme Court actually ruled that Hinduism is not a religion and it is just a way of life.
Okay, then what is a religion? Religion is a way of life, right? Religion, right? Religion is a way of life. It's a set of beliefs. As long as these set of beliefs they need to have two conditions for you to consider them a religion. As long as they have supernatural claims, one, and second condition, as long as you have rituals. So then it's a religion. If supernatural beliefs by itself is not a religion, for example, astrology is not a religion, right? Um,
That's right.
and rituals by itself is not a religion. But if you have these two things together, rituals and supernatural beliefs, then you're a religion. And Hinduism has both of those. Right,
Yep.
anyways. Yeah. Anyways, it's a religion, and it's a bullshit religion, just like every other religion. And it has claims about karma, which is absolute nonsense. It has claims about rebirth, which is absolute bullshit. No matter how much tolerant you think you are towards atheists, you're not tolerant towards Muslims, apparently. So, and you have a fucking caste system that, no matter how much you want to deny, it has nothing to do with Hinduism. Nobody should buy that. It's one of the most um, ancient beliefs in Hinduism. So it's one of the most racist, bigoted views. So you have bigotry tied into your religion. So yeah, no, please, we should talk about Hinduism more. And if anybody is an ex-Hindu and wants to come shit on Hinduism the same way we shit on Islam and Christianity, please join Atheist Republic and help us do that, and help educate us on the best ways, and find that, like, we need to find atheist activists. Like there was this guy that was the skeptic guy that was going to Hindu temples investigating that. I love that guy. We need to find more people like that, and
Yeah.
we need to atheist activists within India that are doing good. They're doing a good job to expose Hinduism. We need to find more of them, and we need to highlight them. So if you know any of that, please comment and let us know. Anyways, next story.
So our next story is about a ban on Valentine's Day in Islamabad. So a couple last year in Islamabad, they were celebrating Valentine's Day, and they were taken to court where it was ruled that it's against the teaching of Islam and a sign of growing Western influence. So yet again, we've got another place in the world that thinks that Western influence with love is a corruption, and it's literally banned. But so here, at least in this story, the day before Valentine's Day, police officers were going around checking cars for anything red or heart-shaped. They were calling up
Holy
restaurants,
shit.
asking if they saw couples exchanging gifts in their restaurant on
Oh my
Valentine's Day.
god.
A concert that was supposed to be there was canceled. Shops were complaining that they lost business because people were too afraid to go in and buy flowers or anything else because it was Valentine's Day. I mean, people are scared. That's so
You really
sad.
have to, if you're that guy that is responsible for going and looking for these things, you have to ask yourself, what shitty ideology am I subscribing to, that I'm going out and looking for people that are exchanging flowers, looking for looking to take down symbols of love and hearts and people showing affection to each other. I'm against that. I'm against love. Right? You're basically
Yeah,
you're basically banning.
you're literally banning love.
Like, don't you, let's think about this. You know that short video, like, that says, like, are we the baddies? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you if you're going out and, like, oh, people are buying flowers and showing affection to each other, and you're going out and trying to stop people from that and arresting people for doing that, did you have to ask yourself, like, am I the bad guy in this scenario right now? You have to, like, am I not the evil person? Like, doesn't that, like, make you think a little bit? I don't know. It's weird.
It does, and there are people they mentioned in this article that try to protest in their own ways. They said they can ban Valentine's Day, but they can't ban two people being together and falling in love. I feel like that's exactly what they want to do. I feel like they don't want two people being together and in love. And there was another person in the article complaining that him and his girlfriend couldn't even go out that night, so they were just going to stay in and Skype together.
Oh my god.
I think it's so sad. And this is why when people say I hate Valentine's Day, it's a made up religion and corruption, blah, blah, blah. We have 364 days of the year to be nihilistic and sad, and let's take one day and just celebrate some love, even if it's not with a significant other, with the people that you love in your life. I mean, we don't do that enough. We don't do it enough.
Just
And to see that it's been banned, and to see that it's been banned because it's not Islamic, to me, I feel like that's something that would hurt a religion. We're banning a day of love because it doesn't fit with Islamic
just
teachings.
just ban
Love
happy.
doesn't fit with Islamic teachings.
Just ban happiness. Just go all out. Just be like, just say happiness is not Islamic. Just, like, if you're happy, that's haram. If you're having if you're having too much fun, then God is angry. Um, all right, this is ridiculous. All right, what's the next one?
So sad. So in Florida, United States, this week, there was a massive shooting at another school. Um, 17 kids were killed, or I'm sorry, I'm not sure if it was just kids, but 17 people were killed in that shooting. And we have been getting an explosion. This article specifically calls out Brian Fisher, who is he's a Christian radio host. But he says, this is what he tweets. This is what Brian Fisher tweeted. Hey, here's an idea. Why don't we pray in schools before these shootings happen instead of waiting until we have dead students?
Oh,
Why
that
does
would solve
nobody have to
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, why does somebody have to die before even start talking about prayer? This is the 19th school shooting this year, which it's not the 19th school shooting this year. What do we have to lose? So, we've got Brian Fisher, this radio host, saying that prayer, or suggesting that prayer is going to stop school shootings. But then we have the governor of Florida who comes out and says we need to be doing more prayer to combat evil. This isn't a gun problem. I strongly believe in the Second Amendment. We all have the rights to our guns. This is not a gun problem. This is an evil problem, and what we need to do is combat it with prayer. Fuck you. 17 people were killed in their school where they're supposed to be safe. Now we have students, we have little kids who are dying for people's rights to bear arms, not soldiers out in a field who volunteered. These are kids who are innocently going to school, and they are dying. And this man is going to sit there and say, pray.
Well, I mean, if this God could have stopped it and he did it because we couldn't pray, then we know, then that's, I can't think of a bigger evil than that.
Right?
Right? Because, you're talking about somebody that said, like, I could have stopped this. I could have, but you didn't pray enough. I need to be praised. I need to be asked. I need to hear you beg before I've saved your children, right?
Right.
So, come on, you're talking about evil. Can you imagine a greater evil than that? I can.
I can't.
I can actually. But still, that's pretty fucking evil.
No, and that's the most disgusting slap across everyone's face. Is they're saying that all schools around America need prayer. We need to start our days off with prayer. We need to pray in school to end the evil. Why? Why do we have to take it into our institutions of learning? Why do we have to take prayer there? Why can't we pray in the privacy of our own homes if we need to pray? Why do we have to take it there for God to actually stop something like that from happening?
Well, yeah. That's what you're angry about. I just can't believe this guy is worshiping a God that he himself is admitting that he could have stopped it, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sorry that I get angry about this.
No, that's good. No, that's good. We need that anger. Your point is very valid. This guy is taking advantage of people's strategy to basically spread his bullshit agenda of having more prayers in schools and stuff, right?
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
So Andrew Taylor, the first top comment, but even if they did pray, God has his own divine plan. Oh, yeah, actually, that's a very good point. Because if they did pray and they still got shot, it's because God had a divine plan for everybody, and he works in mysterious ways, right?
That's right.
Because these people that say that if you pray, we should have prayed and it wouldn't have happened. A lot of times these are the same people that you pray and it doesn't come true, and they just say like, well, because God knew better, right? So
right.
and it was, so what's the point then? I don't understand. So if you
and here's the other thing too, Armin, is here in America we do have prayer in school, right? First of all, no teacher, no principal, nobody can stop you from praying quietly in your head. 1, 2. I was involved in something called the FCA, which was a Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We met together every morning and we prayed around the flagpole holding hands before school. And we were allowed to do that because it was before school and after school. And it was our own student body of government. So
You-
So, yeah, it prayer is allowed in school. Prayer is there.
But
People have been praying.
also, Nura points out, second top comment. So there's never been a shooting at a church, where all the praying is happening, right?
Yeah.
Because we have had shootings at church as well. So if the prayer was supposed to stop anything, why do we have shootings at churches? I mean, this is such a bullshit argument. Are these people this dumb? I mean, even for a Christian, you would think like, does he really think this, or he just thinking like, oh, this is a what do you think it is? Do you think like they're actually very dumb, or is he thinking like, this is such a great marketing opportunity for me to be able to, this is hot topic, let me talk about this right now and remind people that they need to pray and bring some, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think
I
they're
think that
con
whenever
artists or they're just
people
dumb?
start getting money for
Mm.
their speaking, much like Brian Fisher, much like Joel Olstein, once they start getting money for their stuff, I think they understand that thoughts and prayers don't get them money. What gets them money is propaganda
Mm.
and constantly trying to pin the world against people, right? When it's the world versus us, you and I are going to fight together, right?
Right.
And that is the ideology that they exploit. And I think that's exactly what he's done here. He's exploiting people who are very emotional over this tragic, disgusting event, and he's trying to take advantage of it. I think he knows better. I do. I think that once you reach that point where you start making money from your ideas, you start to know better. I don't even think that Joel Olstein, to be honest, is a Christian. I really don't. I think he probably knows better, but he's just using it to exploit people. That's my own opinion. That is not fact. But I think that whenever you get to this point, you start to see these little things in people. You start to see where they take advantage. And down here, a hurricane that hit us was a huge eye opener to a lot of people in the Houston area about Joel Osteen. But Brian Fisher here, this is sick. He's got to know prayer is allowed in school here in America. Prayer is allowed everywhere here in America. Nobody has outlawed prayer. And you don't need to pray openly and out loud. You can pray privately in your head, and no one can stop you, and no one can punish you for it. So he has to know that prayer is allowed in schools, but he's trying to make a point, and he's trying to turn this into some propaganda thing that he can take advantage of.
One thing I think that might go into your calculation is like, how could I trigger these snowflake secularists and atheists to talk about me more? Let me say something controversial. Let me say something controversial to get some news coverage. You know what I mean? Like, I think like
Yeah, that's true.
maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, but anyone who wants to take advantage of a sick tragedy like
Right.
what happened down in Florida, I'll gladly call him out for it.
Good. All
He
right.
wants attention, good. I'll call him out.
All right. Let me see. So what's the next one?
So our next article, this one is very strange. Fatwa has been issued against Malayalam song over a prophet reference. Have you heard about this? So there's a movie that has a song in it, and in that song, the singer mentions the Prophet Muhammad and his wife.
Oh wow.
Um,
In
yeah,
wh-
yes.
in Pakistan?
Uh, no, I don't know. It's Hyderabad. It's a Hyderabad Islamic seminary that's issued the fatwa
Uh,
seeking the removal of the song from a movie that's supposed to be
um,
releasing soon. So
Malayalam song. But where was the song written?
I don't know. I don't know where the song is written. I don't know where Priya, the girl who sang the song,
Let me
is
just.
actually from. They didn't say in this. Or did they? No, I have yet to find it. I mean, the song has been a little viral.
Yeah.
People have been making fake memes about it on the internet about her wink. You can see in the article cover there her cute little wink. and they're saying that men in Bangladesh have masturbated themselves to death watching this video. So it's been huge.
It's just,
It's been pretty big. And the fact that they want it removed because it hurts Islamic sentiments.
it's an Indian. It's
Uh,
an Indian romantic comedy.
yeah, okay.
Okay, but the fatwa is coming from neighboring Pakistan, I think, right?
Yeah.
Hyderabad. Yeah.
hmm
Let me actually make
From
sure.
an Islamic seminary.
Where is this? Hyderabad? No, no, it's also from India. From Islamic seminary in India.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Hyderabad is in India.
Oh,
Okay.
it is. Yep.
Yeah. So so what happened? So what did they mention about Muhammad and his wife in the movie? That's kind of
It's not even in the movie. It's just in the song that happens to be in the movie. So they're upset about a song playing in the background of a movie.
oh, it was in the
Um,
background.
yeah, and in that song, she references the love story between Prophet Muhammad and his wife. Which
Okay,
is
and is what does the song say? Does it say a bad thing or does it just like is it love?
nope, it just references the love story between them.
That seems
Um,
kind of nice. I would be like, wouldn't you be like, oh, that's sweet as a Muslim that you're celebrating the love between Muhammad and his wife? Like, why is that? Oh my God, they have run out of ideas to get offended over. They're like, why
yeah.
are people not saying mean shit in India? This okay, let's look for like no seriously. Like, I mean, I grew up in a Muslim country. If I knew um, if we, at that time we heard like, oh, they made a love song about Muhammad and his love for his wife, we were like, oh wow, non-Muslims wrote a song. That's pretty sweet. You know what I mean? That's pretty nice. That's pretty kind that they're celebrating that. Unless the song is something more than just a love song. Um,
Well, they don't specifically mention it. What it is that they're upset about. And what I don't understand is if the movie hasn't released yet, how did they even know what's going on in the movie with the song? Some students complained that it hurt their religious sentiment, so they decided that the song should not be in the movie. And they say that the director should have used some other characters to depict the couple's relationship. Why did he take the name of the prophet? That's why we issued this fatwa, seeking that the song be dropped from the film. So maybe he sees that the song is referencing to characters in love in the movie. I don't, it's very bizarre to me. I think this is a very strange thing. It's just a song talking about the Prophet Muhammad and his wife. I mean, I really don't understand why it's so objectionable.
okay. The former okay. It seems the song had is not related to Islamic traditions. Song of this category includes. Um, I don't know. It seems like they're just looking. They're like, let's be offended over something again. Like what? Like people are not paying attention to how sensitive we are. Let's remind them. Uh, I don't know, but they're just becoming. I mean, this is crazy. And you would think in a country like India, when Muslims are the minority, they would try to look when you're a minority, you try to behave better than when you're a majority, because they're like, we need to like keep our image. We need to show everybody that we're not this crazy, evil, violent religion. So when you're a minority, you
Yeah.
usually behave a lot better than when you're actually than in an Islamic country, because every time you think like you're presenting your entire community and stuff like that, so it was like peaceful and stuff. But I don't know, in India, I think the Hindu nationalist types, they like this. They want the their Muslim community to overreact, because they want to keep pointing and like, look at these crazy Muslims, right?
Right.
Right? I think they both love each other. They're kind of feeding each other with this stuff,
They
because
do feed
the
off each
Muslims are
other.
like, look
Yeah.
at these fucking cow worshippers. Look how they're insulting us, and they want the Hindus to go point out like, look at these people. They can't even enjoy a love song, and they both feed on each other, right? They both want each other to actually exist because they're helping each other's cases. Um,
That's right.
yeah. Anyways, I think India is going to become very, the whole world is the active when it comes to the battle of ideas. I think it's going to be Christianity is going to lose its influence in the next few decades. I think, not sure, but I think it's going to be mainly atheism and secularism on one side. Um, Islam on another side, and then you're gonna have Hinduism, right? And
Yeah.
you're also gonna have nationalist and racist views. Um, I think it's going to be these main fours that are going to be fighting for, their views. And I think India is very interesting because India is going extreme on, not extreme, but it's basically all of these elements is growing. Atheist activism is growing in India. Hinduism is in India, and Islam is becoming more and more a bigger deal because Hindus are attacking Muslims. I think Islam is going to become a bigger deal in India as well. And you have now these Hindus also appealing. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of Hindus that come to me and like tell me like, Armin, we should, Iranians and Indians should unite because we share this Aryan heritage. And we should unite over our common ancestry, being Aryan. And I'm like, what the fuck? But, right? I thought only Iranians are delusional about the fact that we're still pure Aryans, but apparently this is a thing in India as well. But that whole Aryan supremacy is actually, and I don't know. It's just this is a lot of people in the United States think that they have this whole race supremacy is they own it. It's a white thing, but they don't know how big of a deal this is in the rest of the world as well. Anyways, but anyways, India is very interesting. India is going to be even more interesting in the next few decades, and we need to
Oh,
make
for
sure
sure.
that we find the people that are fighting the right fight, and we need to help them gain more attention and gain more followers and support. So please guide us and in identifying the key people, and let us know if they need us to reach out to them or give them a platform, interview them, bring them on podcasts, bring them on shows, share their pages, share their content, share their books or whatever. Just let us know, educate us on what we need to do. Anyways, the next story.
Oh, yeah. So our next story is a retired Boise priest uh, was arrested when they found hundreds of child porn images, LSD, and ecstasy in his home. Um, the retired priest is 72 years old, in a wheelchair, and he's facing criminal charges, 2 counts of disturbing sexually exploitive material involving children, and 2 misdemeanors for the drug possession. So this was quite a weird article, and the reason why I wanted to discuss this one specifically was a lot of people I know are very, very not surprised anymore. Their surprise has been exhausted when it comes to priests and child molesters. But this article was very interesting in the fact that the majority of it is talking about all the good this retired priest has done.
Oh.
They take a huge part talking about his activism and pastoral career, about how he stood up for women, wishing that they had stronger representation of women in the church. They needed more pictures of Mary and things of that nature. He's been a long advocate uh, of the abused children that have actually been abused in the church for sexual molestation. He's supported them and spoken out about different things. So so it looked to me like in this article they wanted to paint a great picture of this man, and I do think it's wonderful that this priest has gone out of his way to do some great things in the past. But whenever you start speaking about a man who is being convicted of child porn, having child porn on him, and then you say that well, he's been a progressive activist against sexual abuse in the church, and there hasn't ever been any accusation of sexual abuse against him. That doesn't matter. Whenever you're out actively seeking photos of naked children, or we don't know exactly what images he had or videos he had of children, but those children are being exploited and abused, and he was helping. He's purchasing or getting these, showing that there's a market for us to keep exploiting children and abusing children. So great that he was an activist, but this still doesn't make up for what he did. Or what he allegedly did, I should say. And so, it's quite a strange article to me, that we're talking about a man who has hundreds of child porn images and drugs in his home, but we're saying, but look at how great this man is. I don't think that's very fair. I found this article to be very biased.
That's weird. Is that this
It's
article?
strange, right?
I mean,
that's this article that we posted right here.
Really? So,
yeah.
Is that like a reputable news, or are they Christian or something?
It's a local. It's a local. The Idaho Statesman. Maybe they have local news in it.
It's kind of like this shooter that just killed 17 people. We're like, he killed people and stuff and all.
But he volunteered in the community. So
okay.
Why are you bringing that up here? Like, I get it. I think, like I said earlier, I think it's great that he's done good things. But right now we're talking about the bad thing he did. Let's not gloss over these hundreds of children in his porn images that have been exploited and abused.
I don't like
the good things don't make up for that.
I don't like the fact that they're putting hundreds of child porn images next to LSD and ecstasy as if they're like even like LSD. I mean, that's not that bad. Is it that bad?
Well, why would a 72-year-old have it? And I think that was another thing that kind of struck me as weird, was this news article is clearly talking about the great things this man has done.
I mean, Sam Harris
on top of this terrible thing. But this just makes it seem to me like the LSD and the ecstasy were for victims of his abuse. That's what the headline to me kind of made it seem like. It's not what they're alleging at all.
No, because he didn't actually. Because he just consumed the images and videos, right? He didn't did he actually approach anybody? No, right?
He has never been accused of
that
child molestation.
So they're kind of like putting LSD and ecstasy as if these, look how, I mean, okay, so I get your point with with regards to the article, and that's bad, but I don't think those things deserve to be next to each other. I don't know. I mean,
it's strange, right?
Is there anything? Yeah, I mean, even Sam Harris tells people that they should try LSD at some point in their life. I mean, I'm not saying it. Don't flag this as saying something illegal, but I'm just saying, but I'm saying that this taking LSD shouldn't be next to consuming child pornography. I don't think it's they're just. I don't think. I don't know. I think just labeling that as
Why
some.
add? Yeah, why add it unless you're wanting people to think in their minds that he's doing something bad with it in
Yeah.
regards to the child porn images. It really was a very strange news
Do you,
article, and
you know the top
very strange.
the top comment by Martin is saying it's almost as if there's a link between religion and pedophilia. Do you think there's a link? Because I mean I don't think you could make that claim based on these stories, right? Because these are anecdotal evidence. Like has there like Martin, if is that if I was talking to Martin, I would ask him, is that based on a study that he saw, or is that because he's just noticing a lot of stories of priests and religious people doing this, right? Because
Well, and Martin wouldn't be the only one. Even on Reddit, they have a section of not priests, but actual pastors molesting children. I forgot the exact name of it, but it's like this week. Who's been arrested this week or something like that.
right,
There
but
there are a lot.
but I'm saying is that if somebody does it that is not a pastor, you're never gonna see a
Hmm.
headline story that non-pastor so and so or
I don't know.
non-Christian
I
leader.
did. A
Oh,
guy I went to high school with
I know,
was
but I don't.
arrested.
It doesn't get. It does like a story. Like yeah, you saw that because it was a guy that was very close, hit close to home, right? But I'm just saying,
Yes,
we're not gonna share that on our atheist platforms and our
right.
secular platforms when somebody that is not a religious leader does that, right?
That
So
is
of
true. That is
course,
very
as
true.
atheists and secularists and humanists, we're subscribed to a lot of pages and Twitter accounts that will share the story if it's a pastor, right? So does that make it the amount of news that we're exposed to when it's a pastor is more than when it's not a pastor or not a religious leader, right? So I'm saying just because we're noticing a lot of pastors doing this, does that mean that they're doing it more than average, or or is it the fact that that story gets shared more often, right? Or maybe I'm
That's a
wrong.
very yeah. It's a good question, and I wish somebody would do a research
Maybe there is. Let us
topic on this.
link to it in the comment sections if you know of any. Maybe there is. Maybe a lot of people will argue there is a link because when you try to demonize sex and expression of sex, it just comes out in weird ways, right? Um, so maybe there is a link, um, or maybe we just notice it more because these are really. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't post them because even if it's the same, even if it's proportionally the same, what it exposes is that religion. The reason why we post this is to say like, look, being religious doesn't mean that you are more moral, right? But what I don't want to go out and claim that maybe that means you're less moral, right? I'm just gonna stay unless somebody could prove it to me or show something that suggests that. But the reason why we show this is not to say like, look, religious people are evil. The reason why we post this is that to show that religious people are no better. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what the difference is?
Yeah,
The difference is that you don't get an advantage. Like, religion doesn't mean that you're moral. That's these are when you claim if your claim is that religion will shield you from being evil, then anecdotal evidence is enough to counter that claim, right? Because you're claiming that this protects you, and we're showing you that it doesn't. But if you're claiming if you go as an atheist, you go farther than that and try to say religion actually makes you more evil, then actually anecdotal evidence in that situation is not enough. Then you need data and statistics.
that's right.
Right. Anyways, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is a link because there might be a link between um, sexual frustration and not expressing it in healthy normal ways and them coming out in weird unhealthy ways, right? Anyways,
Yeah.
next one. Oh, Malaysia.
Yeah, so we actually have another one on Malaysia, so I'll get right to that. Malaysian newspaper publishes how to spot a gay checklist.
Oh my fucking god.
This is really really fucked up because being homosexual in Malaysia is against the law. So over the past couple of years, people who have been accused of being gay or transsexual have actually been murdered. And so the fact that they're publishing this is just unreal.
Wow. I wonder what the fuck were they thinking? Like what's the goal? What's the end goal? Maybe maybe it's not maybe they could maybe it's for other gay people to find each other. Maybe it wasn't that bad.
No, I wish
No.
that it were for that,
No,
but
what does it say? What does it say? Like what's the point? Like is to arrest them, to report them, to
yeah,
stay away from
I
them?
think that's exactly what it is. It's they want people
What's
to
happening to
um
Malaysia, by the way? This
yeah.
country is going fucking backwards faster than I thought it would. This is the same country that we. By the way, if people don't know, this is the same country that came after Atheist Republic. This because we had a consulate in that country, and people atheists did the unspeakable crime of getting together and meeting with each other and having fun and taking a picture. And because they were atheists, apparently the minister got involved and a judge got involved. The whole country got involved. They complained to Facebook to take our page down. Facebook rejected them. They said we need to hunt down these atheists against our. This is go look it up. Look up Atheist Republic in Malaysia. The news will come up. This was huge. We had a government after our local chapter in Kuala Lumpur, right? And there were people in Malaysia asking for my head. If you go look on my Wikipedia page, you can see that they were demanding my. I can't go to Malaysia, which is kind of sad because I wanted to go see the people there. But you have to understand, Malaysia is the country that people like Reza Aslan and his ilk will use as an example of how moderate Islam could be.
Right?
Right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and when it comes to being a Islamic moderate country, Indonesia and Malaysia are usually given to you as prime examples of like, look, if Islamic country can't be that bad. But now you're saying this is a country that said now there's two things on record, right? You have the government officials saying that we need to hunt down the atheists, and now you have how to spot gay people, right? I mean, think about
Yeah,
it.
and this is after Armin, like this was published after a series of recent deaths for people in our country. So it's almost as if they're saying, "Hey, let's keep it up." I mean, an 18-year-old student was beaten and burned to death last year by classmates. A 27-year-old transgender woman was attacked with a knife and shot 3 times. There have been a slew of murders for people just being suspected of being gay. And so it's just to now turn around and be like, hey, here's an article to spot gay people. I mean, seriously, is that seriously what they need to do at this time when they know there's already a problem going on with hatred against this community? It's just sick.
And just and this is actually very important because a lot of people, when they look at countries like Iran and Iraq and Pakistan, they're like, oh, Islam is not to blame. It's Western, colonialism and imperialism and Western
Yeah.
influence and all that nonsense. And we're like, okay, fine. Even if that has an influence, please don't deny the role of Islam, right? And this is an example of a country that managed to make it, become very advanced, become a first world country. Now it's going backwards, and no other country is, fucking up with them. They're not being invaded. They're not being colonized. They're not being mistreated by any country. They already made it very big, and now they're going backwards. And the only thing now you could point to why they're going backwards is Islam, right? Like I challenge you to
Yeah.
give me a different explanation for why Malaysia is going backwards other than fucking Islam, right? I mean, this is a country that women used to have a lot of, like, I heard about many reports of women in Malaysia in the workplace. They used to be able to work side by side with men. They used to share the same office space, go out on meetings, do presentations. But now many big corporations are hiring Islamic advisors that come and to make the corporate environment more Islamic. They have women and men are separate. Women are supposed to wear modestly. A lot of more women are wearing hijab at work. They don't when there's lunch meetings or dinner meetings. They're not expected to join. You know, a lot of content online is being monitored. Muslim superiority is being sold. And even if you're not a Muslim, at least you have to be religious. This is getting worse and worse, and there's nothing to point to for why this is happening other than Islam, right?
We still have another story to talk to about today too that I think you'll agree that same sentence you just said there, you'll agree whenever you read the next article we have on Malaysia. But something that I did want to point out they mentioned in this article, which I think is outrageously absurd, is that they attacked Walt Disney last year for refusing to cut a gay scene in the movie Beauty and the Beast. So I mean, like they are like really, really, really anti-gay, not just as a community, but even in their government. It's pretty bad. And so I mean, like so we're talking about all this, and they're having these slew of murders for people there. Why else would this have been written if they didn't want to bring unity among the people who hated the LGBT community and attack them? Why else would anyone need to spot a gay?
No.
It just seems very hateful.
Okay, so the first comment, by the way, is from, I don't know how to pronounce your name, is he or she is saying, I'm from Malaysia. I have to say that this is utterly disgraceful and shameful that this has happened. Time and time and again, we come into the limelight for the wrong reasons. However, I can say that, this is a long comment. There's a lot of younger generations seem to possess a more progressive mindset. Okay, yes, but the problem is that this harmful ideology like Islam, yes, your young might be progressive, right? But I could tell you, religion is very powerful. I could tell you, I'm from Iran, and I tell you that yes, our younger generation in Iran was also very progressive, but religion mobilizes people with hate more effectively than anything else that I can think of, right? And your progressive majority, they need to get their shit together and they need to start fighting for secularism because your country is going backwards, right? They need to organize, they need to demand more secularism, they need to go out and vote. They need to go vote because a lot of your leaders are shamefully pandering to these Islamic groups. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So you guys need to organize and you need to fight for humanist and secularist values in your country, or else you're going to lose it to a minority religious group. This is why I'm against Islamic reform, because Islamic reform is bullshit. It's just basically put Islam on pause until it has its time back again, right? Like, I know how this whole thing works. Basically, it's, you just put it in the background and then, if a country like Malaysia could be taken backwards like this when it went so advanced, this shows that no matter how moderate or unharmful you think Islam is, it's just waiting. It's just there. It's just waiting for it to be taken advantage of. Right? I mean, Shia Islam was not even supposed to rule a country. Shia Islam is supposed to. It was an ideology that is supposed to. In Iran, for example, it was an ideology that was supposed to wait for the 12 Imam to come before it could rule a country. But guess what? If it suits your purpose, you could tweak things, and all of a sudden, no, you have Vilayat Faqih, and now you could rule a country. This is why instead of reforming bullshit, we have to wake people up to not believe in bullshit. Right? And because this is the best, this influence of Islam in Malaysia right now, I can tell you, this is the best you could hope for when it comes to Islam. This is why, forget reform, forget changing Islam, forget interpreting the Quran in more moderate ways. This is a toxic ideology that serves no one. Instead of doing any of that, fight for secularism, fight for humanism, fight for, you know, teaching people how to not believe in bullshit ancient ideologies. Anyways, let's go to the next story. Again, Malaysia again? Or no, that's it.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
We're spacing that one out.
All right.
The next one is a Jersey man who set off small bombs in 2 different states, New York included in that. So he sets off 2 different bombs. He injures 30 people, doesn't kill anyone, but he finally got sentenced. So this whole story was very strange. So he's a U.S. citizen. He's been here since he was 7 years old, born in Afghanistan, and he became Muslim. So he sets off 2 bombs. He says that he's not remorseful and gets 15 years in jail in order to pay over $500,000 to his victims.
It says he got life in prison. Am I looking at the same?
Are we looking at the same one?
Put him up against the wall and shoot the cut.
You know what? It was his defense lawyer who said that he needed 15 years in jail because he didn't kill anyone.
Okay. So somebody in the comment section is saying that this guy needs to be shot. Put him up against the wall. I bet that's what he wants. I bet that what he wants. Right? Or like, I think that's what his goal is. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comment section? Do you think people like this? Do you believe in capital punishment? Ali, what do you think? You said you disagree with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm very against capital punishment. We've done the research. We understand that having the death penalty is not a deterrent. It doesn't deter people from committing murder because people who commit murder think that they're either going to get away with it or they don't care. They just want someone dead.
Well, for his case, it might be even a motivator to become a murderer.
Yeah,
right?
It could be.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So, I don't think that it deters crime. So why do we have it? If it's not deterring crime, why do we still have it? I think
because
it's
they say, like, why would you use taxpayer money to feed this guy?
Because it actually costs more to sentence somebody to death than it does to keep them in life.
Then somebody say, well, not if you shoot them in the head. The way you do it is too expensive with all the drugs and stuff.
The way we do it, no. The reason why it costs more is because everybody is allowed so many appeals, right? Death row inmates have their own single cells. Even in overcrowding and things like that, there's mandates on how they have to be treated in prison when they're waiting on death row. All those appeals cost millions of dollars to the state.
So
millions.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
So putting somebody on death row costs more money than sentencing them to life in jail.
So Adam in the top comment is saying now he's going to spend the rest of his life radicalizing other prisoners who aren't there for life and will get out eventually. Isn't there somebody monitoring these things, or is it just free to just go around and talk? I don't know how prison works.
Yeah, prison in America. You don't get me started on how prison works in America.
So is that a legit thing to be concerned about, that he's going to go radicalize other people in prison and they get out?
If he's spending life in prison, he's probably going to be put with a whole bunch of other people who are spending life in prison. So it's very possible that he could be around somebody who's going to be getting out. Sure, he could be in there trying to radicalize people. That's one of the problems that we have, where they say, well, somebody in prison for selling marijuana, and you put him in jail, then he's going to be in there with somebody who's an armed robber professional, blah blah blah, and he's going to teach that poor little marijuana salesman how to make real money once he gets out of it. No, I don't really think that that's what's happening in our prison systems. I don't think he's going to be in there radicalizing anybody. He's going to have his own little opportunity to go do his worship, hang out with people who also worship what he worships. He has an outlet. I don't think that that's going to happen.
Also, these people should be studied, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think like I think you need to keep these people alive and study the shit out of them, like their mindset, and I mean to like have like really good academic papers done on them and their mindset. At least have some more documents showing to people that still deny that this is religious and has anything to do with social. I don't know. I just think it's good to have because the more you study them, the more maybe people could figure out how to avoid more people becoming like this. There's another popular comment that says that he should have been executed. Again, I don't think. I think he might actually point that he's still alive. The goal for a lot of these people, the goal is to die. So if you actually do kill them, that's a plus for them. I mean, at least most of them. I don't know about this guy. But yeah, but I think this guy should be some people in academia should have been given access to these people, and they should be interviewing them, questioning them, talking to them, some experts, and documenting these things. And then maybe not release the interviews, because if you release the interviews, they're gonna think like, oh, great, now I'm a legend, right? So
Right.
more people will be like, if I do this, they're gonna write about me, they're gonna study me, they're gonna whatever I say is gonna be published. So maybe don't publish the things that they say, but just publish your results, like your conclusions or something like that. I don't know. Maybe somebody could comment and saying if you think that something like that is helpful or not. Anyways, next story. Unless you have something to say.
No.
No.
Next
Okay.
story is about the Taliban publishing a letter calling on the U.S. to start Afghan peace talks. So this is shocking to me. And the thing is, they did it in an open letter, right? So it wasn't like something that was specifically sent to anyone individually. It was just an open letter expressing a desire for peace talks.
Yeah.
And he asked specifically for quote unquote peace loving congressmen to pressurize the Trump administration into negotiations.
Wait. So, any analysis on what the thinking behind this is? Obviously, they don't give a shit about peace. This is
Right? And just
right.
reading the reading the
Yeah.
headline, I was like, what? No, because they refuse talks with the government of Afghanistan. They don't want to talk to people. So it actually a few different people did give their speculation as to why they thought this happened, and it makes a lot of sense to me that they would have put this open letter out there as a tactic. They just want people to say, look at this group. They wanted peace. Everyone rejected them. So
Right.
that is why they are the way they are.
They are good. They are smart PR. They must have hired a good PR person for their team. Like, okay, first of all, obviously they wouldn't be like, "Hey, let's talk peace" if they were winning, right?
Right?
You must be losing when if you're talking about peace, right? So if they were like
Yeah.
dominating the country and everybody, and the United States armies was like losing the wars, and the United States like, "Hey, let's talk peace." These people were like, "No, fuck you. We're defeating you. Why would we talk peace?"
Yeah.
Right? So, but it's clever that they made it open, because they know how much um, they must know how U.S. politics works, or like international politics. Like, oh, they started talking about peace, but you denied them peace, right? So that's kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of media savvy of them. Um,
Somebody actually called it an evolution of their propaganda.
right.
The fact that they've started to showcase this
Um,
understanding of how things work, and they said, I hate to say it, but they've started to hit where it hurts simply by telling the truth. Uh,
uh,
so peace
yeah.
is needed. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing is that some people think that it's impossible to not deny Taliban a seat on the table in Afghanistan. when it comes to building a government. Some people say that because they're just too powerful compared to anything else, right? And if you don't want Taliban at all, then the U.S. has to be there forever, right? Because you're
Yeah.
either gonna have Taliban in the government, maybe not, maybe they're not the entire government. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong, because this is not my opinion. This is what I'm hearing some people say, right? Or you just have to always be there and fight them, right? Um, so maybe they thinking like, maybe they thinking this is a good, because maybe the United States is tired of being too involved in Afghanistan for this long. Maybe this would be a good opportunity for us to get a seat at the table and also give Americans a way out. So maybe that's their calculating. So if that's, it might be clever, right? Um,
Yeah.
because they're like, hey, listen, you can't get rid of us. Just give us some. But some people will hate this because this is peace talks with. If you're doing negotiations with them, that means they're gonna get something with in return, right? That
Right.
means Taliban, which is recognized. You can't do peace talks with somebody unless there's negotiations happening. And there can't be negotiations happening unless they're getting something in return. And if they're getting something in return, that means like a group that is identified as a terrorist group is now, we're negotiating with them, right?
Right.
So it's kind of tricky. So you have to kind of be like, no, you have to recognize, you have to be like, well, not, okay, they're going to be government, they're not terrorists. But then people will be like, these are the people that killed Americans and did this and that. And now we're giving them a seat at the table. So this is going to be very tricky, right? But this is I mean, their timing is pretty good too, because you have this idiot Trump, you know, and he's going to be like, oh, look, I brought peace. Right? Like, look, Obama couldn't bring peace. I brought peace. So he could use this as an opportunity. Like, look, they were fighting us until I became president. Right?
Right.
As soon as I became
Exactly.
president, Taliban said we want peace. Look, I'm bringing peace. North Korea. As soon as I became president, North Korea is talking about peace. Going to like South Korea, and now Taliban. I'm making the worst people in the world talk about peace, but just because I'm president. That would be a his sales pitch, right? So maybe he could see this as an opportunity to be like, look, I'm bringing peace to the whole world. Right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
And
yes,
they haven't flat out rejected it. I mean, I've heard of many other incidences where governments will be like, no, we do not do any negotiation with terrorist groups.
right.
But the Trump administration is being very like, we'll see.
Well, it's easy. I mean, people that say we don't negotiate with terrorists, they're also the same people that classify who's a terrorist. So all you have to do is declassify,
Yeah.
unclassify them as terrorists. They're like, we said we don't negotiate with terrorists, and these are not terrorists anymore. They're part of the government. Um, okay. So the first comment, just in case we have no fucking clue what we're talking about, let's see what some other people say. We spent 15 years and billions of taxpayer dollars to defeat them. Might as well do a complete withdrawal and just leave Afghanistan in their hands. Oh wait, where is all our opium and heroin going to come from then? Well, actually, if they are in charge, I bet you we're gonna see that rising again, because that's. I mean, if you have a U.S. backed government there, United States might be able to put a lot of pressure on them to stop, you know, opium and stuff. But if you have Taliban there, good luck with that. Um, yeah, I mean, this is going to be tricky. This is the idea of sunk cost, right? So a lot of people are going to think like, okay, so we spent a shitload of money on Afghanistan to defeat Taliban, and now not only we never managed to do that, now we're actually negotiating with them and maybe giving them a seat at the table, right? So no, we can't do that because we spent so much money. But the idea of sunk cost is that just because you spend a lot of money on something, that doesn't mean you should continue to spend shitload of money on it. A lot of people,
Yeah.
and I don't think this is such a complicated fucking mess that anybody that comes and tells you like, oh, we should do this, they don't understand how complicated this is, right? I mean, this is not an easy.
Right.
I mean, this is again, this is a situation where, I mean, Afghanistan is becoming less secure right now, um, than before. This is a situation that whatever you do, whatever decision the U.S. government makes here, there's going to be negative consequences to it. And the negative consequences to whatever decision you make is going to be huge. So what you have to decide is which one of these negative consequences is less, right? And whatever you do, you're going to get blamed for the negative consequences of that, right? So it's not going to be easy. This is why I don't being a president is, people think like, oh, if only I was president, I would do this and that and that, right? It's so fucking complicated, and it doesn't help that we have a buffoon right now making these decisions. Anyways,
Right.
any comments? But let me see. Go on.
No, I am excited to move on to our last article.
Okay, let's go to that.
This one is so good. So it's titled "The Year the Dog Exposes Growth of Islamic Conservationism in Malaysia," and that is because, so you know how it is with Chinese New Year. You've got the red and gold animal all over stores. I mean, even here in America, we have areas where you just go and it's got the Chinese New Year stuff everywhere. It's really fun, you know, it's great. But this year of the dog, is a huge problem in Malaysia because the Islamic department, the country's Islamic department, said that dog would confuse Muslims. So shops are putting their dog figurines inside or not carrying them at all.
Wait, who said that it would confuse Muslims?
The country's Islamic department said
Wait, China has a government. Is that a government office?
This is Malaysia.
Oh, sorry, Malaysia. So this okay, sorry, okay.
So they have a Chinese population there.
Yes.
Those
it's huge.
people
it's huge.
want. Those people want.
Yeah, for a second there, I got confused. I was like, wait, China is listening to what its Muslim population wants? Because China doesn't give a shit about either
article's
Christians.
Great because it gives a map about the religious affiliation there in Malaysia. So you've got 61% of them are Muslim, and so when the Islamic department says that dog confuses Muslims, shops are being affected. But you know, it's crazy because like I don't know in Canada if you guys
what
have
does it mean by
shops,
is saying that it's going to confuse them? It's just a more polite way of saying that they're going to lose their shit over saying.
Yes,
okay.
I think they're being polite because they also mentioned that Auntie Anne's and A&W, they're like little mall pretzel places. A&W, I think, is like a little fast food place. What? But so they're there, and they've had to change pretzel dog and coney dog to pretzel sausage.
Okay, these are Chinese people. They should hold their ground, right? I mean,
they should, right?
They should be like, fuck you. This is our tradition. This is our culture. We're gonna celebrate it the way we want. We don't come to your mosque and saying that your praying is confusing us because your tradition is actually very confusing, right? Like, you're like, hey, guess what? We're confused by you by people blowing themselves up. So maybe that's right. That's you. Yeah. We're confused by you outlying Valentine's Day. We're confused by that, but you don't see us coming to you and telling you to do. I mean,
but just the fact that they had to change pretzel dog to pretzel sausage drives me crazy.
But to what? To sausage? What was that even? How does that even make sense?
Because dog can't be in the title. So the fact that they have an item that's called a pretzel dog and a coney dog, they had to change dog out of it, and now
I'm telling you, these Muslim groups. I'm telling you because I know I was a Muslim, okay, and I've been. Dog is not even that fucking offensive. They're just shitting with everybody. I know they're doing it because if this was the year of the pig, I get it. I would get it. Okay. Okay. Because pig
Yeah.
is like so offensive. Okay. Dog is just najis. It's just like unclean. You could even have dogs as if it's for hunting in Islam, right? You just shouldn't have it in your
Yeah.
as a pet. You shouldn't have it as in your home. You should if you touch it, you should wash your hands before praying. It's not even fucking offensive. Okay. If it was a pig, I get it. Okay, like I don't get it, but I will understand that. I understand that. Okay, yes, pig is like so offensive in Islam, right? But dog, it's just a cute little puppy, you motherfuckers. I mean, come on, like, like seriously, like it's not even haram to have dogs in Islam as long as you use it for the right reasons, right?
Right.
I'm telling you, they're just fucking with everybody. They're just claiming. You know how animals go and pee in places and claim their territory, right?
Yeah.
This is just Muslims peeing on everybody and claiming territory. Like they're just getting. If we get to, if you have this Chinese tradition and we get you to, we manage to get you to remove that from your store and not practice your culture. This shows that how much control we have, right? This
Oh,
shows that this
wow.
is our territory. This is basically Muslims peeing on other people's culture and demanding that this is our territory. This is what they're doing. They're looking for these things. They're actively looking for areas where they could be offended, and they wanted to see if you're gonna back down or if it's time for them to go apeshit and go crazy on you. But come on, from all the people in the world, these Chinese people shouldn't back down on this. They should be like, no, fuck you. This is our culture, and we're gonna celebrate it the way we want. But I guess it's Malaysia, so they can't do that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
As
just the fact they're having to keep their dogs inside instead of
this is
displaying
going to be a
them to
major
avoid
clash.
causing
You
offense.
know, this is going to become. This is not going to be. This is going to be a major clash at one point, right? Um,
Yeah.
and it's going to be like because we're kind of becoming a global clash because right now you just see Malaysia, you see Muslims living next to Chinese, but Islam is growing, atheism is growing, and China is becoming a world, a superpower more and more every day. It's taking US's role in becoming the world's major superpower and influence over other countries. It's and China doesn't tolerate people telling it to respect its religion. It's actually sometimes reacts in a very extreme way, not helpful ways. But it's going to be these are going to become major global clashes eventually when borders become less and less relevant. These ideas are going to atheism and Islam and Hinduism and also racist ideologies, these four things are going to have major, major clashes with each other because Islam is not just going to be in India and Malaysia and Pakistan, it's going to be in the US, it's going to be in England more than ever, it's going to be in China more than ever, it's going to be, and these people are going to come head to head with each other. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. So I think in Christianity is going to play less of a role in this battle going forward. It's going to be these main four ideas. I might be wrong. Let me know what you think. But we're on the atheist team, and I think we could fuck up as well. Like I think China is sometimes sees on our side on the anti-religious side, but if they want to start, taking down churches, and and they're going to actually not only they're not going to help, they're going to they're going to hurt our cause because
Right.
I've never seen more people I've never seen people be so excited to see a Bible than Christians in China, right? Like they
Yeah.
banned Bibles that they get access to. You're basically promoting Christianity and Islam by actually oppressing it like that. So that's not helpful. So I hope, but at least when it's in a secular country like Malaysia, try to stand your ground. Do you think like if they did stand their ground and they said like no, fuck you, we're gonna have puppies and dogs everywhere, no matter how offended you are? Do you think China will come and back them up on this as a country? Like
I don't know.
because I don't know if
It,
Malaysia wanna. I don't think Malaysia would want to go head to head with China on something like
No,
this,
I don't
right?
think they would want to. But they broke up the ethnic groups. 50% of Malaysia is Malay.
Oh,
22.6% is Chinese.
yeah, but still, China is like a superpower. So do you really want to start? This is why they come after atheists, but they don't like. They're like, oh, Chinese, they're Buddhists, and and stuff like that. So they're not atheists. So that's their excuse for not going after Chinese, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they want to go at, like Malaysia and China are too connected for them to want. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that that's a power that they want to face. So it would be interesting if Chinese people hold their ground and see.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for the Chinese
No,
people in Malaysia right now. I mean, I that's gotta it's gotta suck.
they should have hold their ground. Come on, guys. Come on, people. Don't let them push you.
Please.
Don't let them push you around. Here's the thing. Here, let me tell you. Today you accept this. Tomorrow they're gonna put hijab on Chinese women in Malaysia, right? Don't
Yep.
let. This is what. Don't let. This is the first step. Don't let them. Don't give them these grounds. Don't give them these small wins because it's not gonna stop there. Um, it's not. Oh my God, Malaysia. What's happening to you? Anyways,
Yeah.
if any Malaysians, oh, let me see. Top comment. Next year, 2019 will be the year of the. Is next year the year of the pig?
I don't know. I don't know if that's a fact. But if it is, let's see how that plays out,
Oh my
right?
God! Please, let's make a campaign for celebrating pigs um, as much as possible in Malaysia. We have to reach out to atheist Chinese people in Malaysia and tell them to have pigs everywhere. Um, this is so ridiculous. Honestly, if this is your battles, if you're a Muslim and if you think this is a battle worth fighting to remove puppies from stores and stuff, then you have to really question if you're fighting the if this is the way. Oh my God, you look ridiculous. You look ridiculous to the whole world. But I know why you're doing
Yeah.
it, and I know why. I actually but don't see this as stupid because it's not stupid. It works, right? These are small wins for them. This is show of dominance for Islam, right? So as ridiculous as it might look to you, this is by design, not by design because it's like a meme that it works. It just works, right? And it's genius and it needs to be stopped. Um, Yeah, actually, a lot of dog lovers become very anti-Islamic once we tell them how anti-dog, how anti-dog Islam is. I've noticed a lot of Muslim preachers in the West have started to, try to notice how big of a deal dogs are to a lot of Westerners, and they're constantly looking for hadiths to say no, dogs are the dogs are valued as hunters and stuff like that. Maybe just not as pets. Don't share your food with them because they realize that dog loving is a religion in the West, right? So
Yeah, it is.
so so it seemed like they are willing to compete with Christianity and atheism and secularism, but they find that this is not a battle we're fighting against. So they're like dogs. That's their limits, right? Because people in the US and Europe love their dogs too much for them to. Yeah. So this is not a joke. I'm noticing a lot of preachers are trying to tone it down on their anti-dog hate. Because I don't think that's a fight they're gonna win. Um, I mean, dogs are lovable, so that's understandable.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
no difference between Islamic conservative. Okay, let me. Can I just Joseph Lewis? Can you please shut the fuck up? With there's no difference between Islamic conservative and a Christian conservative. Yes, there is, Joseph. There's a lot of difference. Stop trying to compete with Islam. You know, Christian conservatism is a problem, and it will be a problem, and it doesn't have to be worse than Islam for it to be a problem. Okay? Stop trying to compete every time you complain about Islam, there's always that one guy. Oh, Christianity is just as bad. Oh, our Christian leaders are just as bad. First of all, They're not. Okay? Islam is worse. That doesn't mean that Christianity is good. That doesn't mean that Christianity is anything to celebrate. That doesn't mean that Christianity has not been and is not or continue to be a source of misery and hate and problem and death and all of that bullshit. Christianity is a major problem, but Islam is worse. And that's true. And you don't have to compete in your oppression Olympics because you've been influenced by Christianity more than Islam. You don't have because every time somebody's talking about Islam, you have to bring their attention back to Christianity because that's what you relate to more and that's what your life has been influenced more. And if people are not talking about how your life is being influenced by Christianity, then they're not giving you that attention to the things that you care about. So this is such bullshit. This is like me talking about cancer and all of a sudden come and say, well, AIDS is a problem too. Yeah, AIDS is a fucking problem, but we're talking about cancer right now. So shut the fuck up and we'll talk about AIDS when it's turn. We'll talk about AIDS when it's time to talk about AIDS. But right now we're talking about cancer. And Islam is the cancer that we're talking about right now, okay? Christianity will get its turn. You don't have to compete with Islam. They're both bullshit. They're not equally harmful, but they're still both bullshit. The two things don't have to be equally harmful for us to recognize them as being harmful, okay? So no, Joseph, they're not equal. I'm sorry. You're absolutely wrong. So, yeah, okay. Anyways, if you think I'm wrong, if you want to remind me about the Inquisition and how many people Christianity has killed, and that's why Christianity, just comment in the YouTube version of this. But I will tell you that Islam is definitely worse. But that's not like if I say cancer is worse than AIDS, that's not a celebration of AIDS. Okay, that's not saying AIDS is hunky dory and it's good. Okay, right? So if I say Islam is worse than Christianity, that's not a celebration of Christianity. Okay, that is not a celebration of Christianity. Okay, and if you say people like they're the same gods, the same ideologies, they're equally bad, it's impossible for two ideologies to be equally bad. It's impossible. I would believe you more if you actually said Christianity is worse, right? I would disagree with you, but that's more logical to say than saying they're both equally bad. Because it's impossible for something that could have so many different ways of influencing humanity for them to be exactly the same in their harmfulness. It's mathematically impossible. Okay? Don't stop trying to win over the thing that harmed my life is worse than the thing that harmed your life. Okay? You don't have to be the center of attention when it comes to being the victim all the time. Okay? Anyways, this is really harmful. The reason why this is very harmful is because every time we're trying to bring attention to, you don't see this when people are complaining about Christianity, right? When somebody's saying like, oh, they're not, in United States, they don't, they're removing abortion clinics and they're making it impossible for women to take abortion. They have to travel so much to blah blah blah, and this is bullshit. This is ridiculous. This is anti-scientific. This is, or I don't know, like they stopped stem cell research that could have saved so much lives. Do you know how annoying it is if somebody came and comment like, but what about Pakistan? But what about this? But what about that? Okay, yeah. We'll talk about Pakistan. We're talking about fucking Pakistan. We're now talking about stem cell research funding in the United States, for crying out loud. Like how is that fucking relevant to this topic, right? But you don't see that. You don't see this whataboutism whenever people are talking about Christianity or Hinduism. Actually, you do see that when people are talking about Hinduism. But whenever you're talking about Islam, somebody have like, but what about Christianity? Oh, Christianity is just as bad. Shut the fuck up, please. Please shut the fuck up. Please let us talk about this issue at this moment about Islam. This is what we're talking about right now. So, you'll get your turn. If you want to talk about that, go talk about it. Post about it. Ask us to share it. Right now, we're talking about a different topic. Anyway, sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Anyways, So let's see some comments. I remember watching something about a blind Muslim girl who had to get us sing. Anyways, thank you for people on the live chat. Let me. I still can't. The restream comments. You can see Alex's comments. You can see Beach's comments. You can see Mark's comments loading. But on Facebook, I have to thank some people on Facebook, but they're not Emily, um, Lee, Ari. Oh, Ari, hi Ari. Ismail, John, Hussein, the live chat. I'm gonna try to figure out how I could bring the comments on Facebook to show up on the live stream as well. I don't know why but at least we got the audio right, right? I think my audio levels, because last time people were complaining that my audio was much lower than Ali's audio, but now we've managed to get that right. If you have any feedback for us, please comment. Let us know. Uh, I think that the audio level, my audio level, and Ali's audio level is now close. I think I managed to keep the mic close to me this time, the entire time. So we're trying to improve this as much as possible. If you have any comments about, we're going to try to do this every week. We're going to try to also release a podcast version of Atheist Republic News so people could hear it on audio. If you like this format, and if you have any suggestions on the news that we want to cover next week, if you think something needs to be covered as a news item, please comment on the once this is not live anymore, on the YouTube or Facebook version of this, and let us know what to cover next week. Yeah, and your comments really help actually. And subscribe to the YouTube channel to make sure that you get this. Audio is much approved. Thank you, Beach. Thank you for letting us know. Ali, do you have any other closing remarks?
No, that's it.
Thank you so much. By the way, Ali does most. I just show up here and talk. She goes and go show her. I'll link to her Twitter account in the comments and the description of this video. Go follow her. So if you want to reach out to her and tell her what to cover or help her out with finding news articles, she does all the. She comes up with summaries. She does all the research. She reads it. I just show up and I just talk. So she does most of the work. So thank you so much, Ali, for everything you do. I really appreciate that.
No, thank you.
Alex is saying I would like to see this every week. Yeah, we're thank you so much, Alex. We're trying to do this every Saturday. We start setting everything up at 3, but it usually ends up starting at around 3:30 or 4. But we try to make the time more. If you subscribe, maybe on YouTube, it will show you exactly when we go live. Thank you, Beach. Thank you to you both. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. And anyways, thank you, Ali. All right. It's always awkward for me to end this because I don't know what should be the last thing for me to say. So I keep saying something. I'm like, is this the last thing I want to say? I have to find a closing statement. All right. Bye.